Hey there, guys, and welcome to Behind the Crypto podcast. I'm Mike Graham, and I'm your guide and host, having some amazing conversations with builders and founders in the Web3 space, making some magic. Today, we have Andrés, co-founder and CEO from LoopFi. Andrés, great to have you with us, brother.
Thanks for hosting. I'm excited.
Yeah, me too. I'm excited to talk about the project. I'm excited to talk about you. Maybe we'll talk about driving on the Autobahn, and I'm really excited to get into it. But yeah, tell the folks a little bit about you, a little bit about LoopFi, and yeah, give us
Sure,
a little bit of the alpha.
sure. Yeah, so my journey started a couple of years ago. I was in school, I had to decide what do I want to do with my life. I decided to become a developer because back in the days, I really enjoyed playing video games and I didn't really know what else to do, right? So I was like, okay, I want to work with computers. I got into that, studied to code, to develop, and so on. During that time, a good friend of mine introduced me to crypto. That was in 2016. I was still a young child there, right? I was like 16 years old. I had some money saved up, in cash. You have like the piggy bank where you always put some money in. And then he was like, yeah, you need to get in, you need to get in, trust me. And like in the movie, I smashed the thing, took the money. I had like 1K saved up, and I gave it to him. I was like, okay, here. And then he sent me one Bitcoin, or it actually was a half a Bitcoin back then. Bitcoin was at 2K, something like that. It was early 2017. And then the money doubled very quickly, right? It was like March or something. I went in, then it went to 4,000. I was like, what the fuck is this? Got super hooked, super excited. And that's when I started to research about altcoins and things like that. I traded my portfolio from 1K to 100K by the end of 2017 in this crazy bull run. I thought I was Warren Buffett, right? I was like, who the fuck are these teachers talking about economics and finance? Like, I should stand there and teach them, right? And then the whole market crashed, lost everything, as it is, right? But I stuck around. I was interested. Because of my dev background, I started to go deeper into what's possible with crypto. And then in
Mm.
2019, actually, um, DeFi started to emerge, right? You
Hmm.
had like MakerDAO, and then you had like Lend, then it was called Aave. Then you had like Yearn and all these platforms, and the DeFi summer in 2020. And I got super excited because this was like the first time when you could actually do something with your crypto. And in 2020, went all in. I took all my money from the centralized exchanges, right? I put it into DeFi, put it to work, and in 2021 actually started to work on my first DeFi startup. The main motivation behind it was I was doing crazy returns on yield farming, right? Back in the days in DeFi summer, you could put money everywhere, or anywhere, and you make like 30, 40, 50, 60, 80, 100% APR. I sold all my positions. I put everything in the stablecoin, started to liquidity mine. And I was like, hey, I know so many people that have been in crypto longer than me. Back then, let's say 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, but only know the centralized world, that don't know how to use a MetaMask, that don't know the concept of gas fees, because you don't learn it if you just buy crypto on Binance, right? And that's when we started our first project. It was like a aggregator for all these amazing yields that my team and I were personally catching. And we did everything wrong we could while launching this. We took way too long. It was we thought we were gonna launch this thing in 3 to 6 months, and we took like 1.5 years, right? By then the whole hype was over. There was no liquidity mining anymore. No one really gave a fuck about that stuff anymore. And we still managed to build like a pretty decently sized community. Our niche was like focusing on the German market,
Uh-huh.
instead of paying KOLs that do a million tweets a day anyways. We were focusing on small people doing content ourselves. We built a community of roughly, I would say, 25,000 people. We then did like an initial DEX offering, an IDO, like a liquidity bootstrapping campaign. This didn't really exist, these terms back then. IDO exists, but LBP, now people know what it is. It's like
Mm.
on Fjord, you can do that stuff. Back in the days,
Mhm.
this didn't really exist. We did it on our own front end. So we said, hey, put money into a pool, BNBs, back in the days was on Binance Smart Chain. And then we said we're gonna use that liquidity or that money raised and put it as liquidity for the token because we couldn't afford liquidity on a token. And we also didn't really know how to talk to centralized exchanges. We were like, let's just launch a token on a DEX, right? And then my team and I we were talking like, okay, how much are we gonna raise, right? Like some guys were like super pessimistic. They were like, like if we raise less than 1 million, it would be very embarrassing because they were talking to so many people. You know, they were like a couple 100K maybe, but they were very worried. And my other co-founder that we were like, no, we're gonna crush it. We're gonna do $25 million, right? And at the end of the day, in 3 days, we did $26 million, right? It was the biggest to this day, it was the biggest on-chain launch ever on the Binance Smart Chain. Since us, no one has done similar numbers like us,
Can
right?
we just pause on that one because that's so amazing, Andres, you know?
Yeah.
And you know, you've obviously been in the space since 2017. I mean, listen, brother, to buy a Bitcoin, how much did you buy half a Bitcoin for? $1,000. To buy half a
$1,000.
Bitcoin for
Yeah.
$1,000 back then. I mean, listen, if I could buy half a Bitcoin for $1,000 now.
Yeah.
But listen, that's so interesting. This project that you're talking about, was that LoopFi where you did the 26 mil raise in 3 days, or was that a different project?
No, that was the first project we've done. This was called the Grizzly. The name of the project was Grizzly Fi.
Grizzly. And what do you think? What do you think was maybe one thing that made it so successful, that made that launch so successful?
That's a good question, and I'm still thinking about it today, right? I would say the main reason why the launch was so successful is because we focused on an underserved market, right? Everyone is trying to go global. Everyone is trying to go, we need to target the whole world, but every single country has its own culture. Many countries have their own language. And if you are a project if you are a founder from a certain region, let's say you're French or you're from Indonesia or you're from Nigeria or from wherever, from Russia, I think it's a very low-hanging fruit to create content in your own language, to be able to reach people from your place, from your country. You build trust a lot differently, right? If someone comes up to you, let's say you speak Portuguese, right? And someone comes up to you and speaks in Portuguese, you're on a different frequency with that person, right?
Correct.
You're talking
Correct.
your native language. You think this person, you trust this person more for some reason, right? I think that's one thing. The other thing is that we focus a lot on the kind of like founder brand. Not we didn't call it that back in the days. We were just like, we didn't have money to pay KOLs to make videos about us. So we just made videos about ourselves, right? And explaining every single detail. We had to explain DeFi, we explained liquidity mining, we explained different pools, different strategies,
And you
comparing
think,
it.
and you think that was a huge, because I love what you're talking about here, Andres. You think part of building that kind of content was part of building the trust, building the narrative, building
For
the
sure.
brand, and that connected. And what did you say? That was 26 million in 3 days that you guys managed to raise. That is phenomenal.
Yeah.
And that is still to this day, what is it? The highest
It's the
performing.
biggest on-chain launch on
Biggest.
Binance Smart Chain. Yeah.
Man, kudos to you
Yeah.
guys. Kudos to you guys on that. That is phenomenal. Listen, let's bring it into LoopFi. This is fantastic. Let's talk from smashing a piggy bank to raising 26 million in 3 days to
Yeah.
now to LoopFi. Tell us about that. What are you guys building? And yeah, how did you start that project?
Yeah, exactly. So LoopFi initially was thought to be like the next iteration of what we've done before. Like I've only ever built products in DeFi, right? Between Grizzly and Loop, I've assisted other friends, I've helped out with other projects, other launches, and I was and the idea of LoopFi started out of a problem that I had myself. Like I was again, I told you, like I have skin in the game. I'm doing this shit every day. Like I'm providing liquidity, earning yields. I'm not trading on futures and trying to outsmart the market. I'm just trying to hold assets that I believe in, like ETH, like stable coins and so on, and earn some premium on it, right? And this
Yeah, makes
compounds over
sense.
time. And it was late 2023, and I was providing again a lot of liquidity on a DeFi play called Pendle.
Okay. I've
And
heard of Pendle. Yeah.
yeah, Pendle right now is super big. They had like a huge pump in early 2024 with all this restaking hype and so on. And I was looking for a platform where I could use my LP position as collateral, right? You
Mm-hmm.
can use an NFT as collateral, which I think is a very stupid idea. You can use crypto as collateral. You can use anything in TradFi. You can use your house as collateral, your car as collateral. You can use anything as collateral. Collateral means security for a bank or for an institution that will lend you money, right?
Yeah.
You give your car worth 100K, they give you 50K, and if you don't pay the 50K back, they keep your car, right?
Correct. Yeah.
That's collateral. Now, there is a huge market, billions of dollars in LP positions that cannot access credit, right? You cannot borrow against your LP positions. And that's a problem that I personally had, right? That I personally experienced, a desire I personally had. And I thought, hey, if I have this desire to borrow against my LP position, maybe there's other people that have the same problem or the same desire. So I started to develop LoopFi, right? A lending market for LP position, basically.
Yeah, that's brilliant. I love that. You know, when you were talking about that, it reminds me so much of how PayPal got started, right?
Mm.
The story of that, because Elon Musk, he wanted to send money to someone, and we forget that before PayPal, the only way to send money was either through the bank and literally cash, like piggy
Yeah.
bank. You know, those are the two options you had pretty much, right? And
Yeah.
he created pay a little bit like how you created LoopFi out of a
Yeah.
problem you had, and you
Yeah.
thought other people must have this problem, and
Yeah.
you know, you double down on that. And listen, how's the journey been on LoopFi? You know, I know we've spoken about it. I know you guys have done
Yeah.
really well recently. I know the project is growing, but give, you know, for the listeners that don't know much about the journey, don't know much about, you know, the community, etc. How are you
Yeah.
guys doing, and what is the vision with the project? Like, what are you guys
Mhm.
trying to do in the space?
Yeah, that's a good one. And I would say if I had to summarize the whole journey in one word, it would be roller coaster, right? You have, and it's funny, I've heard, I've recently watched a video by Alex Hormozy, and he was like, even for him, sometimes he wakes up in the morning and he thinks the world is collapsing, everything is going down the drain, and he needs to stop doing what he's doing. It's not gonna work. And then he has other days where he wakes up and when he feels like Superman and everything's gonna work out, right? And it's a similar thing. Like when I heard his words, I was like, okay, I'm not crazy. Like there is other people that have the same kind of experience. Um, yeah, so it's been a huge roller coaster, right? Initially we started with very high expectations. We thought, hey, this is like, because I was initially very bullish on this idea. I was like, there is no way no one's gonna use that, right? We're gonna launch it, we're gonna do partnerships with everyone. And I wanted to do everything different than how we've done it with Grizzly, because with Grizzly, the 26 minutes sound great right now, but we've the project was too big for what it actually was, right? The fundament was not worth $26 million in 3 days, right? Like we've done an amazing job building community and so on, and we've got a lot of people excited that we've done this very well, but the product was just not there, right? So I wanted to do it completely different. I wanted to be a little bit more chill on the marketing side, not over promise, but actually under promise and over deliver, right? Launch a product without the token, because with Grizzly, we launched a token and the product at the same time. So we had no idea if there was going to be product market fit, if people were actually going to use it or not, right? So I wanted to do it completely different. I wanted to launch the product first, get traction on it, launch it, and then launch a token after it becomes successful, right? We wanted to do it very different. So we had very high expectations in the beginning, and then we realized, okay, it's not that easy, right? It's not that easy because this is like a market we're niche of the niche of the niche, right? Like there is crypto very big. You could say every like 5% of the world are holding crypto, right? Crypto trading very big. Then meme coins,
Yeah.
very big. Anyone can do it, right? Anyone wants to do it. It's a
Yes.
very big market. Then you have DeFi, very smaller market, right? Compared to
Yeah.
2 point whatever trillion dollars in crypto, you have 100
True.
billion in DeFi. And then you have like
Yeah.
these yield type of things, which is even smaller, right? And then you need to create a lend. We wanted to create a lend, or we created a lending market for that. It's even smaller. It's niche, right? So
Nice.
we've had our ups and downs. We've started to accept deposits from pre-deposit depositors in June last year, so pretty much 1 year ago. Then we launched the product in December of 2024, and then in 2020 and now in 2025, right? We are focusing on growth and so on, right? And now preparing for TGE, right? So
Yeah.
it's been a big roller coaster with a lot of ups and downs, right? And now actually we are, as a company, we're at a very interesting period. I haven't told you that this yet, so for you it's also the first time you will hear that. But we have been experimenting in the past couple of weeks with a new kind of feature product that is it, and it slowly looks like we're gonna take the whole company into a slightly different direction than where we had initially planned, right? The main goal with this soft pivot, you could call it like that, is to get out of niche market into a market where we could, in theory, scale infinitely big, right? And that has to do with what Robinhood announced at ECC. Have you heard about that? What they
Yeah.
talked about?
Yeah. That was huge. That was huge. I was down in Cannes. It was massive.
Yeah. Have you been to the keynote?
I wasn't there, no. But
I
I heard
look
about it. Yeah, it was crazy.
It looked very cool. It looked very, very cool. And the main thing that made me so excited was we've been I remember when I got into crypto, I went to I don't know if you've been doing that, but in the beginning in 2017 there were like events happening, people hosting events and talking about crypto and having
Yeah.
presentations showing, hey, this is where it could go and so on. And everyone was talking about at some point there will be mass adoption. Mass adoption meaning that people will use blockchain technology without realizing it. But we haven't seen that. We have not seen that at all. Like the past 2 years were dominated by meme coin Ponzi's and rug pulls and influencers launching their own product. Like that was the crazy innovation. Like if I would have sat in this, or when I sat in this room 8 years ago, listening to this guy in the front talk about how revolutionary this is gonna be, I would never have guessed that in 8 years, some random influencers would launch. President Trump would launch a meme coin, and that's it, right? Just some speculation
That's
bubble.
it.
Like it's a tulip
Yeah.
bubble, right? I would have never expected this. I would have thought that we would be much further, right? We would actually bring use case to the people. And this presentation of Robinhood for me showed, or for me was the first time that there was actual real change or real benefits for society that are now coming on chain, right? Which is stocks on
Yeah.
chain, right? I was like, wow, this is
Yeah.
what we've been dreaming about. This is what we've been talking about, that at some point stock market will be on chain and everything will be powered by blockchain and Bitcoin and blah
Yeah.
blah blah.
Yeah.
And now it's happening, right? And then I've asked myself the question, like, okay, sounds cool, but why the fuck would I need that? Why would I need my
Yeah.
stock to be on chain? If I want to buy a stock, I can make a Robinhood account and buy it,
Yeah.
or with my bank. It's not needed, right? Or that's what I thought. Then I was thinking, okay, what could I do with the tokenized stock that I cannot do with normal stock? And the answer was in the same thing that I'm doing right now. Since 2 years, I'm building a lending market, right? So, okay, what if you create a lending market for stocks? Someone will do it, right? Someone will launch the Aave for stocks, 100%. But what's the main utility behind it? Why would someone want to do it? right? And then I was thinking about stock lending, right? In traditional finance, because if someone wants to trade short on a stock, right, you need to borrow the stock and sell it. So there is a market. I Googled, okay, how big is this market, right? And I found out that this market was 2.6 trillion dollars big, right? 2.6 trillion dollars. That's the same size as the whole crypto market, right? And then I was looking even deeper. I was checking, okay, this market is generating $10 billion in annualized revenue. Wow, okay. And then I went deeper. I was like, okay, who is offering this, right? Because there must be people left and right earning crazy yields on their stocks. Then I found 2-3 companies that do it, including Robinhood. And then I was looking for some product reviews, and I saw that people were complaining a lot about this feature on Reddit. They were saying, I lent $160,000 in my stock. I earned 6 cents last month, right? I was like, okay, what the fuck? Something is wrong. Something is not right here, right? And I then I was looking for the reason. Why is that? Why is that happening? Why is there so much money being generated, but no one is seeing any of it, right? And I realized that between the lender of stock and the borrower of a stock, there is 4 people in the middle that take a cut, right? 4 people take a cut. First, you have the broker that takes the cut. For example, Robinhood or whatever, wherever you have stock. Then you have the prime broker, that's like JP Morgan, some huge bank, right? That's facilitating the lending. And then you have the custodian that holds the stock when it's being lent out. Then you have the facilitator that is saying what the interest rate is and so on.
And everybody wants their little piece of the pie kind of thing.
The thing is, they want a big piece of the pie. Everyone is taking a huge piece.
They want the pie.
Yeah, like the prime broker is taking 40%. 40%. Then the custodian takes 20, right? Then the facilitator takes another 10. And then you have like 30% left. And usually the broker, like Robinhood, they take all of it and the user sees nothing, or they take another 20%. So the user is, or the investor that actually owns the stock is left with 0% or 20 of the return that you should be earning.
Makes sense.
Right?
Yeah.
And I was thinking, okay, I've been working on this lending market technology for the past 2 years, right? I've just not been focusing on stocks, right? Because I'm coming from the DeFi world, yield farming world. I wanted to build a product for myself, but then I was thinking, hey, maybe I should build a product for a lot more people, right, than just myself, right?
That'd be exciting.
And we've done some estimations. I've been, you know, this when you are onto something new and you cannot sleep and you're on your laptop like Googling and typing things like that. That was me the past 2 weeks, right? We found out that we could, in theory, we could increase the yield of people holding stocks by 5 to 10x, and we could reduce the cost at which hedge funds are borrowing stocks by 40%, right?
Wow.
And imagine all of DeFi is generating $500 million in annualized revenue. 500 million. Stock lending is generating 10 billion a year. That's 20 times more than all of DeFi combined, right? And so we've gone now in thinking about this idea. We've gone from, okay, someone will build, because Robinhood said they will build a chain, right? We've gone from someone will build the Aave of Robinhood, someone will do it, someone will build the lending market, to actually, it's not about creating a new product that is needed there, because everyone is thinking, okay, new chain, I need to do this. You need to be the first DEX, the first lending market, the first this, the first that, and you get some users, maybe you get some grants, whatever. But actually, this technology could enable millions of people around the world that own stocks to earn an additional 1, 2, 3% on them, right? And could help remove 4 middlemen from $10 billion of revenue that are generated every year, right? And that's what
Yeah.
that's what got me
That's
excited
the
about
power of
crypto.
crypto, right? That's the power of the technology. That's the power
Yeah.
of the technology. And Andres, I wasn't asking you any question. I wasn't interrupting you because I was taking down notes, right? I was like, wow, this is incredible, right? This is such
Yeah.
a, and I think that is the exact power of the blockchain, right? Is to look at even when you were talking earlier about why you created LoopFi, it was almost a bit like the PayPal story, right? You needed to do something, Elon Musk needed to do something,
Yeah.
and you kind of you're using blockchain to help something in the real world that is a big issue, right? That is a
Yeah.
huge issue, and you guys are facilitating it. I love that. I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
Let's bring the conversation towards a close. I'm sure everyone's enjoyed it. I'm sure everyone's loved it. Obviously, people can connect with you guys on X, on your website, get into your Telegram, etc. But in terms of, I always ask, something that people are bullish in the space, right? I think you've kind of talked about it a little bit with the tokenization of the stocks, putting that in. But you've obviously been in the space a long time. You've built different projects. You've seen the growth of
Yeah.
crypto. You've seen this. Two things. One, what is something that you're really excited about? And the second thing, just to wrap up, give us maybe a quote or some kind of advice for you. We're going to have founders listening to this podcast. We're going to have builders listening to this. You've built different projects. You started with $1,000 in the piggy bank, right?
Yeah.
It's not a bad story, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, listen, what's something you're bullish about? And then maybe a piece of advice or a quote for the founders when they're building and that kind of stuff. But first, what is something that you're bullish about in this space at the moment?
Yeah. I feel like now we're moving back to the roots. I think we're moving back to fundamental plays. The past 2 years were just casino and gambling, and who comes up with the more stupid name and the more funny iteration of the Pepe character, right? And launching a new meme. I feel like a yellow one with a hat and whatever. Like,
And
I
it's
think
totally revolutionary. It's totally
yeah,
revolutionary.
and like I feel like we're going to move back to fundamental plays, right? To fundamental products. I feel like right now with RWAs and um and DeFi, mix of having regulation kind of in place or clear regulation with technology that's been cooking in DeFi and institutions that are willing to come on chain and do things there. The thing I told you before, like that's what got me excited. Cutting out middlemen, cutting out inefficiencies in the market when you need to go from point A to point B. Right now, you need to go through 4 different loops, right? That all take a cut, that all want to benefit from you,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
That have a monopoly where they can say you cannot do it in another way, so you just pay us 40%, you pay them 20%, you pay them 30%, so you're left with nothing. It's not very exciting for someone. I can imagine if I think about myself coming into crypto, I would be 10 times more excited about buying a coin that does 100x than some rich hedge fund can save 40% of their fucking borrow cost. Like I don't give a shit, right?
yeah,
But now
exactly.
that I've matured and I'm trying to push this technology forward, that's what makes me super bullish, right? Yeah, I'm excited about that stuff. The fusion of
Yeah.
TradFi with with crypto through DeFi tech and RWA regulation.
Yeah, it's like a blend of things, right? It's a blend of the different components, the blend of the different, because it's so interesting something you said earlier, and it was the concept that you were like, when you first started in crypto 8 years ago, you didn't think that the tech would be used for like Pepe or, whatever it is, right? You thought there would be some revolutionary concept behind it, and it's so true. But
Yeah.
listen, let's wrap this up on that point, Andres, right?
Uh-huh.
You've obviously been building in this space. Give us a tip, give us a piece of advice, or maybe a quote if you have like a favorite quote that you're just really passionate about. Because I think you've shared some amazing alpha with the audience already.
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I would say, and that's towards builders, huh?
builders, founders, or anyone coming into the Web3 space, or something that you're, a quote that you resonate with, or it could be a piece of advice if the quote isn't.
Okay, piece of advice, because the crypto market is full with BS. There's a lot of very random things that sound cool, right? I would say don't believe what you see, just believe what you know, right? You cannot trust if you see a website and you see articles, need to ask yourself, okay, these articles are probably paid for. If you see a KOL post about something, he's probably paid for. Like 99% of content you see on Twitter, I would say is paid, right? So be careful. Don't just hop on the next hype train just because someone said something, or the website looks cool and they have some articles and some 5-star reviews, whatever. Like the longer I am in the space, the less I just ape into something after hearing it once, right? I give it some time, I observe it, I see, hey, it sounds interesting, cool. Let me take one step back, let me take a look, because of course, maybe you're just missing the next 100x and you're just sidelined and waiting and looking at other people making money. But 99% of the time, you would thank me after just taking 1-2 weeks, 1 month, just looking at it, making some more research, and then maybe if it really seems like a good thing to go in, right? So that's my main advice. Yeah.
No, it makes total sense. It makes total sense. Don't believe, but trust what you believe, not what you're seeing, right?
Yeah.
No, I love that. I love that. Andres, you've been fantastic. I've loved learning about LoopFi. I've loved learning about your previous project. I've loved learning about how you got into Web3 as well. I hope for the people listening, you guys enjoyed it. Guys, this has been Andres from LoopFi. My name is Mike Graham, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Cheers and bye for now.